So I wanted to make a quick, definitely not out of idea type of video today. And I want to talk about my favorite 5 cameras of all time and how they kind of related to me. And I think maybe 1 or 2 might resonate with you guys and girls out there, but it'd be interesting to hear you guys and girls' thoughts as well down in the comments. So let me know as you're watching this video down below. But I just wanted to talk about my top 5 personal cameras that I've used of all time and that have had an impact on my career. Now, unfortunately, I don't have it anymore because it suffered a grave fate, so this Nikon camera is going to fill in for it. But the Canon AE-1 film camera with a 50mm lens was basically the first camera that I ever used going back in college when I actually first started an interest in photography. And that was one of the main cameras that I learned a lot about, your exposure triangle and stuff on, because you had to get it right. And film, you had to go get a process, so it's not something that you could review right away and everything like that. It's not digital. There's no screen on it. So you really had to get everything right, spend the money to make sure you checked it, ran down to like a local CVS or store so that they could develop it, because they were still kind of doing that back then for the most part. And then really kind of go from there and see what I was doing, was everything right. So it gave me a lot of respect for photography and get everything right, and kind of put a hinder on the wall at times because I'm just dumping money because they come back and they're not exposed at all very well. But you kind of learn with time. But the Canon AE-1, definitely not this Nikon camera, was there for me to start, and that's why it's number 1 for me. And I guess I'm not really ranking these in a total order of what I think is amazing and everything like that, but I guess I kind of go that way. But the next camera that I really liked, and it's something I saw Chase Jarvis using when he was talking about Polaroid cameras years and years and years ago, and I only got this about 2 years ago, 3 years ago at this point, but this is the Polaroid 600 SE. So once again, it's Polaroid, so it's tear film, you pull it out, and that's how you get it. It's not automatic, even though you can get modifications for it. But something like this just stuck out to me. I love using this thing. I don't really show it a lot on this channel or anything. If you want to see some of that stuff and maybe street photography with this, let me know. But the Polaroid 600 SE, the old press, kind of cameras from back in the day, Mamiya press cameras, really like doing this kind of stuff. It's all manual and everything like that, boom. Just something that I really like and really gets me inspired to go out and shoot because it's different. You walk around with this and it's not a small camera. It will turn heads, but just something that I enjoy too. Now, I definitely don't have this camera anymore as well, but one of the ones that really got me into video, besides the Nikon D700, was the Canon 5D Mark II. Now, that video, that DSLR then had some issues, but it was very groundbreaking and really kind of made Canon emerge into the video game, and that was a standard for a while. The Mark III improved upon it a little bit, and Mark IV, improved upon it a little more. But the Mark II for back then, the video settings that you could get from that, that was a time where DSLRs were really starting to get considered for video work and everything like that. I really liked that camera. I very much enjoyed even taking stills with it. It still can hold up to this day in that regards. It does have a little bit of overheating issues in some video, so that was, pre-Sony at that point with all that kind of stuff. But that being said, the 5D Mark II was definitely an impactful camera on myself and in the photography, videography industry as well. But the Canon 5D Mark II is a legend. And talking more about local times, and I guess I will rank number 1 and number 2, my all-time second favorite camera of all time is the Fuji X Pro 2. I just like almost everything about this camera. I'm hoping the X Pro 3 kind of gives me a tilt screen because I'd really enjoy that for street photography and just casual photography and everything like that. But all that being said, the weight of it, the way it functions, the dials, the ease of use, the way the buttons are laid out. Fuji just knows what they're doing with this camera. Yeah, I don't care about the video on this thing at all. The stills are absolutely amazing that you can get from this. And yeah, it stuck out to me, and a lot of Fujifilm users who are into this type of stuff also tend to agree. But the absolute one camera that has stuck out to me through my entire career, the video still gets a lot of hits on it too, is the Nikon D700. That 12 megapixel beast is probably one of the best cameras of all time, and I don't really think it could be challenged, once again, not including anything video-wise, but that 12 megapixel beast held very well under low light, especially for like back in 2007. I had that camera for like 2-3 years at the utmost, building a lot of my lenses and everything. But that was my first full frame camera at that point, even before I got into like the D600 or D750, because I mainly needed to transition to video. But yes, the camera was a bit bulky, but I really enjoyed the feel of it. It really felt like you had a workhorse of a camera. And yet again, I was shooting ISO, 6400, and they were coming back pretty damn clean. And once again, that is back 12 years ago at this point, or whenever you watch this video, 13, 15 years ago, if YouTube is still existing. But the D700 is definitely one of my favorite, and I think one of the best cameras of all time, by far none. So those are my basically 5 favorite cameras of all time that I've used. And pretty much, I guess, what I think in general. But what are your thoughts down below? What is your favorite camera of all time? Current, old, you sold it, you still have it, etc. Let me know down in the comments below. Let's start a discussion about it. And have you ever owned any of the ones that I've talked about? Also, let me know down below. But tell me your favorite cameras. You tend to forget where you kind of came from to what's now, and what features were important then to what they're not now. Because, back in the day, like I just mentioned with my X Pro 2, and what I hope the X Pro 3 has with the Fuji, is like a tilt screen. Is it a necessity? No, but I had the D750 that first really had it. And I was like, you know what? This was super useful. I was photographing a wedding, and, I was like, oh, this is such a great thing I can capture at a weird angle. And I was able to do it because I had that screen. But you realize where you come from. D700 to the X Pro 2. Two totally, obviously, different cameras. It's just exciting to see where technology has come from, but to also respect and see what you can still go out to this day and get. Let me know down below.